Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Rachel. We make videos about Christianity, having disabilities, having a service dog in training, and really cool like travel vlogs. But occasionally I also have done some story times in the past, and I will continue to do story times like this one here. Now this, y'all, I have done some story times. Some of them have been a little bit on the crazier side, like my eating disorder story. And when I say crazier, I mean like kind of like wow, like my eating disorder story was like one of those I can't believe I actually went through that type of thing. Well, this is a crazy story like that one. And also, I just want to throw this disclaimer out here that I am in no way, shape, or form trying to make fun of this lady or put her down or say she's a bad person because of her mental disorder. I am not trying to make fun of any schizophrenic person. I am just trying to take what I went through and put it into content. Now, to be respectful to her, I will not be sharing her name at all. I will not be sharing it at all. But if you like the content that I make, such as disability, service dogs, travel content, and story times, go ahead and subscribe. But with all that out of the way, the disclaimers, the everything, let's go ahead and hop on into the video. So, let's start off by saying that my grandmother owns this house where she takes care of people that are less fortunate. Some of them are not right in the head. Other has tried to push people on us. This was a time where, and mind you, my mother got her car stolen by someone that she trusted a couple months back. So, she wasn't very keen on having any of Grandma's people in our house. But she brought to our attention this girl named Melissa. Let's just call her Melissa because that's not her real name. But anyway, let's call her Melissa. She said that this was a very, very temporary thing until until my grandma got her a room in the house where she'd be staying at. Just like a few days or whatever. She said that she thought that Melissa could help with me, which she didn't really, because I obviously had Dawn helping with me, but she did help my mother, like, do little odds and ends around the house. But it was supposed to be a very, very temporary thing, and I was happy about that, because considering that my mother got her car stolen a couple months ago, I didn't want this to be any type of permanent situation whatsoever. Sorry, I was looking back at my dog. Now, my friend Courtney, I'm good with saying her name because I know she probably won't care. My friend Courtney and her brother David moved in for a couple of weeks while we had Melissa over, because they moved in for a couple weeks because their grandmother, I'm not going to share her name, we'll just refer to her as their grandmother, was helping my mom with the kitchen remodel, just helping her finish things up or whatever, because their grandmother's brother had actually built the cabinets and was doing most of the job. So the grandmother was like, I'm gonna help you with with a couple of things to totally 100% finish up the kitchen. So she's like, I'm gonna move in for a couple weeks, which she did, that was fine, and we're gonna help you, you know, with the house, because our goal, and I haven't told you guys this, but our goal is to move once we get our house fixed up and everything. So Mom's like, okay, yeah, great. So, but this story isn't about them. It's more about Melissa. One second. Okay, so now that y'all know the backstory behind why Courtney and her brother David and their grandmother was staying at the house, and then why Melissa's there, let's get into the story. Now, mind you, I'm really good friends with Courtney. We've known each other for a couple months. We're, yeah, it's been a couple months. We're good friends, you know, because when you live with somebody, you become naturally closer, and I knew her before she moved in. So we're still good. We just are both traumatized by what Melissa put us through. And so I was about to get my car at this time. I was supposed to get it any day whenever the check came in the mail, because the dealership I got it from actually is not in the same town as me. So when the check came in the mail, I was gonna get my car. So I met Melissa. Everything seemed kind of cool, except she was very, very, like, she never stopped talking. She loved to talk, which I know a lot of people are like that, but she always bothered me when I was busy. Just little things that kind of annoyed me about this woman. Okay, so my friend Courtney moves in. She's like, who's that chick? And I'm like, oh, it's Melissa, it's whatever. So then Courtney moves in with her brother David, and as time goes on, a couple days into her living here, we notice that she starts talking to herself. Oh, and also keep in mind that she always asked my mother if she could do anything. If she could get in the swimming pool, if she could go to the store, if she could go on a walk, just little things. And my mom was like, honey, you are a grown adult, like, you don't have to, I don't know, just little teeny things like that. Sammy, he's like, I'm just gonna walk out. But anyway, so little things like that. And then started noticing, and me and Courtney and her brother also started noticing that Melissa was talking to herself. And not just like, la 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 la, I'm singing in the shower. No, like cursing, like literally cursing, like all this crazy stuff. And I remember the first night I noticed, she was staying in her a room that was catty corner to my room, and still is. It was the room that Becca used to stay in a couple years ago when we went to France. And when she comes back, when we go to London, she's probably gonna stay in there for a couple nights before we go. But anyways, so I hear her cursing, and in my mind I'm like, okay, she must be really mad. You know what I mean? She must just be mad at somebody or something, so I'm not really gonna say anything. Now, Dawn gets to my house the next morning, and if y'all don't know who Dawn is, which if you've been around for a while, you know Dawn, y'all have met her, but she is like the nanny. So, but we're tight, you know, me and Dawn, we're pretty cool. So I tell her, and I'm like, yo, I heard Melissa like cussing at herself last night. Like, it was crazy, right? So then the 4th of July comes around, and so then the 4th of July comes around, and then we get a call from the dealership saying that this wasn't right after the 4th of July. I think it's probably like a week after or whatever. So 4th of July's passed, and the guy at the dealership calls us and is like, let's see, I got my car on the 10th, and so this is the 9th of July, or no, this is the 8th of July when he calls us and is like, okay, so you're gonna come up here and get your car. We're like, oh yeah. And he's like, the reason why I need you to come up here is because I need Rachel's wheelchair so that we can install the easy lock for her wheelchair to automatically get locked in the car, which the easy lock is something we requested. So we're like, okay. So we're like, great, this is amazing, like, thank you, Jesus. So we get this trailer, and we get stuff situated. And so the day before we're supposed to leave, Melissa accuses Courtney's 14-year-old brother, who is my friend at this point. Like, we were pretty cool. And once you're my friend, like, I will stick up for you come heck or high water, you know. That's just how we are, you know. Like, so, I don't know why I do that, but anyways. So, Melissa accuses David of stealing cigarettes. No, it was of stealing her lighter. And mind you, David is a 15-year-old boy. No, he's 13, which makes it even worse because he's way younger. and she's accusing him of stealing lighters and such. So that, me being his friend, I was pretty heated. So I call Melissa in my room, and I'm like, why the heck did you accuse him of stealing your lighter? He does not smoke cigarettes. I do not smoke cigarettes. Courtney does not smoke cigarettes. The only smokers in this house are you, my mother, and their grandmother. So why are you accusing a child of stealing a lighter? Like, that was just beyond me. Beyond me. So if you're missing a lighter, you mean to tell me that you're gonna think that the children in this house, your mind just thinks, oh, the children took it. No, that's not how life goes. So I call her in there. I'm like, why did you accuse David of stealing the lighter? And I kind of snapped at her. Not gonna lie, I kind of snapped at her. And I had been a little weirded out by her before because of hearing her talk and cuss to herself and stuff like that. And so she's like, I never accused him of stealing the lighter. There's no one stealing lighters in this house. I'm thinking, exactly, there is no one stealing lighters in this house. I just said that we needed to go to the store and get a light. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, no, that's not what you said, because I sat there and heard you. I was less than 2 feet away from you, Melissa. But I'm not going to say anything, right? Because if I pick a fight with her, she's probably going to lie on my behalf to my mother, which my mom probably would have believed me. Actually, I don't know, because she would have if we would have known more about Melissa's mental disorder, which we believe to be schizophrenia, because she has the same qualities as a schizophrenic. If Melissa would have freaked out at this point and we would have realized the mental disorder she had, yes, my mother would have believed her, but we didn't realize she had a mental disorder at this point, right? So, that night, I believe it was, me and my friends, David and Courtney, we have one of those, like, sorry if y'all can hear my mom's TV. 1 second, I'm gonna get her to close the door. So, me and my friends are listening to music on, it's called like a smart TV, because it has YouTube on it. It's the kind that we have. Sorry, I had to pause it to get my mom to shut the door and all that stuff, and I put some stuff in my diffuser, but anyway, that night, so, she walks out on the porch and starts cussing again, and sounds as if she's talking to somebody. And later on in the story, I find out she's talking to people who aren't there. So, I told my mother that night, I'm like, does Melissa have to go with us? At this point, we didn't know that the kid's grandma was going, and she's like, yeah, because we're getting your car, but I need someone to drive my car in the trailer, because remember, I had to take my big old power wheelchair that doesn't fold up back the 5-hour drive, right? So I'm like, ugh, okay, whatever. In my mind, I'm like, at least I'm getting a car, right? Like, I was so excited to get my car. So, next day we drive and da-da-da-da-da. This is the plan. The plan is that we have to be at the dealership at 10 a.m., drop off my wheelchair, they're going to put the bolt on it, on the bottom, and then they're going to put the easy lock in my car, and then we're going to go get my car. They're going to show us how all that works. We're going to leave the dealership, and our plan was to drive home the day that we got my car, but then it actually ended up being super late. So we actually ended up staying another night. So the next morning, after we had driven the 5 hours, we have to go and drop my car off. So we have me, David, my mom, Courtney, and Melissa. So we're at the dealership, right? And Melissa, like, my mom is inside talking to, like, the dealership people or whatever, and Melissa parks the car in between all these, like, really nice cars that aren't even ours and that are up for sale. And what freaks me out about this is that literally, like, if she runs into any of these vehicles, spoiler alert, she didn't. This was just my nerves. Like, you know, it wouldn't be good. So, everything ended up being fine. Now, this is where the story takes a turn, right? Okay, so we go and we're like, okay, now we have some time to kill, and the plan was that me and Courtney were going to get our nails done, and then David, Mom, Melissa, and the kids' grandma actually ended up getting some Chinese food. But before that, we wanted to get McDonald's. Just on our way back to the hotel from the dealership. So we go to McDonald's. This is where the story gets crazy. This is where, like, we start to realize, okay, this girl has a mental issue, and I thought, and my mother thought, that she could be dangerous. So this is where it gets crazy. So they get our order wrong, and something clicks in Melissa's head, and she turns, like, the corner, cause we have to, you know how when McDonald's gets your order wrong, the plan is that they have to bring your actual food out to you. So McDonald's wasn't being very nice to us at this point. So Melissa was like, we just spent $30 on this food, rah, rah, rah. And my mom's like, you know, it's gonna be okay. We just gotta get it fixed. Like, these people are just being kind of annoying and kind of rude, but it's okay. It's whatever. And then Melissa goes. And this is where the story ties into the thumbnail, okay? Melissa goes, I could just kill us all. That is not clickbait. Like, I'm straight up, like. And so, this is where I'm scared. David, I don't know if David was scared, because y'all know how boys are. They usually act like, oh my god, I'm such a tough man. So, anyway, Courtney was a little bit freaked out though. So my mom's like, Melissa, You cannot talk like that. That is not acceptable. That is a threat. Like, it was absolutely insane. So, I was scared, but my mom's like, I gotta go inside, get this stuff straightened out with the food, right? So, as soon as my mom gets out of the car, Melissa starts cussing and saying crazy stuff, yelling at the people that were moving cones in front of us, saying, you don't move those cones, da 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 da, and like just yelling crazy stuff like, I need a police escort to get us out of here, like all the, and mind you, this is supposed to be a big day for me. I am getting my very first car. Like, that is a big deal for a 16. Well, I'm almost 16. 15 and a half year old girl, right? So, she starts like yelling like, I need a police escort, every cuss word in the book, like all this stuff, and like she says, I'm gonna call the Costas. And for those of you who are not very educated on the Costas, I don't know what exactly it is they do. I will put a picture of the definition up on the screen somewhere, but that scared me because later David, Courtney's brother, actually ended up telling me, and mind you, as Christians, or as a Christian, I believe part of her mental disorder is that I believe she had an evil spirit in her. And that, you know what I mean. I believe that. So, because this is what led me to believe it. David told me that the Costas were like part of the Illuminati, which is a satanic group of some sort. Like, literally, it's crazy. Like, that freaked me out, right? But like, and he actually ended up telling me that the Costas, some people have told me they own McDonald's. Like, David told me that they, like, actually, like, own a bank, and they're this rich family or whatever. But see, the part that scared me is he had told me that they're in the Illuminati, right? Which is a satanic group. And being a Christian, I have a healthy fear of the devil and Satan and stuff like that. So, anyway, so we're in the car at this point. I just told y'all about stuff that David told me after we'd gotten out of the car. But we're in the car at this point, and so we're all freaked out, right? But David, they didn't get his sandwich wrong. So, Courtney hands him a sandwich or whatever, and he takes a bite out of it. And he actually ended up saying something that was stupid, because it set Melissa off way more. Which, like, boys say things that are stupid anyway, like, let's just be real. So he takes a bite, And he goes, this sandwich tastes like pot. And Melissa goes, don't you dare accuse me of being on drugs. Like, literally, she was hearing things and all this stuff. And so then Courtney starts talking back to her a little bit. And while all this was going on, and mind you, like I said, David didn't tell me the stuff about the Costas while we were in the car because he knew it would set her off. He actually ended up telling us while we were at the hotel later that day. But while all this was going on, she was still, and when I say all this, while Mom was inside of McDonald's, she was still cussing and all this stuff. So Courtney goes, no one accused you of being on drugs. And I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you when I say this. This is not clickbait, not anything. She tells her, shut up, you transvestite slut.
What?
Like, that's not something you say to a child under any circumstances. And if you're in your right mind, like, you wouldn't even ever think to say that to a child. Ever. It would never once pop into your mind. Anyway, I am like shocked. But Courtney's like, okay, I'm gonna go get Kim, which is my mom. But I had said, don't call her that. And she goes, shut up, Mike. My name is not Mike. There was no person named Mike in this car. This woman was out of her mind. So, Courtney goes in and so as she's walking away, Melissa calls her under her breath, but still loud enough to where me and David could hear her. Just calls her the 4-letter B word that is a swear word that I'm not gonna say right now and never would say, so yeah. And I mean, I have made mistakes before in my life, but I would never, say it in front of a camera, or that's just anyway. So she calls her the 4-letter B word, and which also, I don't say that on a regular basis either. I only say it not even necessarily on occasion. I've only ever said that a handful of times in my life. So I don't want y'all to assume things about me. But anyways, so she calls her the 4-letter B word. David says, I gotta go back up Courtney. And in my mind, when you're in a wheelchair in that situation, or when you have a disability in general, you are very, very vulnerable, okay? And you just have vulnerable moments in your life. And I am in the car with a woman who is talking out of her mind, who I believe could potentially kill me if he leaves. So, I said, don't you leave me. Don't you leave me in the car. He ended up leaving anyway, which, I don't agree with that, but I mean, it's whatever, it's in the past. But anyways, so, my mom comes out and she says to Melissa, did you call Courtney a transvestite slut? Mom? Oh, that was Sammy. I thought Mom just like walked in here. She goes, no, I did not. I called myself a transvestite slut, which does not make any sense whatsoever. My mother had to act like she didn't believe me or any of the kids, when we said, oh, she's lying. But, I thought she legitimately didn't believe me. But anyway, so we go to the hotel. She's like, what the heck happened? And so we tell her, we tell their grandma, and, the grandma's freaking out because she's like, she sounds like she's schizophrenic and all this stuff. And then that's where David told us about who the Costas were and all this. I was so scared, y'all. I was freaking out, right? So we go to the nail salon and Courtney and I get our nails done. Well, here is what my nails ended up looking like, actually, if y'all want to get a look at them, see what they look like. But anyways, so she starts drinking, and later on that night, the dude at the hotel actually says to my mother that Melissa,
something actually happened to the footage right here. But what I wanted to say was that while we were at the nail salon, she had another freak out and basically was screaming and stuff. Because me and Mom had to go get my new car, and so while we were gone, she was just
me and my friends went down to the workout room. I was always watching my back, like, you know, I just didn't want to be around her. I was so scared. But I knew that she stayed in the lobby the majority of the time, which made a girl so happy. But I was still scared, and I suffered from anxiety and stuff. But I do talk to a counselor about that, and I did talk to my wonderful counselor about this situation to help me move past it. So now that the next day we actually, okay, so this is what happened. Melissa, the 30-something-year-old woman, was flirting with my friend David and Courtney's brother. And so David goes, well, Melissa says to David, do you want to go to McDonald's? She didn't ask anybody else. She's like, do you want to go to McDonald's? And he's like, So he asked me and Courtney. And so I was like, I gotta go with him, because on my keychain I had a bottle of pepper spray. So I was like, which I have never used on anybody, but I was fully prepared if this woman tried to hurt me or anybody else, because you never know what those people will do, okay? I was fully prepared to use it if I needed to. I wasn't just gonna use it to be like, ha ha, Melissa, but if I needed to, I was going to use it. So we have to take my car. I never wanted Melissa driving my car, but I had to do what I had to do. And I mean, that's the only time she will ever drive my car because I will never see her again. So, we get to McDonald's and she said an inappropriate joke to David, which I'm not going to repeat on here. But one of the nights we were there, actually wanted to sleep in the same bed with David, which did not happen. It would never happen. But I'm just saying, like, she was just kind of cuckoo, right? So, the day we drive home comes along. We stopped and got something to eat from this like restaurant, or it wasn't a restaurant, it was one of those gas stations that had a Burger King or whatever inside of the restaurant, or inside of the gas station. So we're inside eating, and then my mother comes out because she smoked cigarettes, and so she was like, before we leave, because she knows I have a no smoking rule in my car, so she's like, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette before we have to leave. And so we're like, okay, whatever, it's fine. So she tells me that Melissa is screaming and doing crazy things whenever she got outside. And whenever I say doing crazy things, I mean like screaming and da-da-da. And so she's like, Melissa, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing's wrong. And my mom goes, well, people don't usually just scream like that. And Melissa goes, I was talking to my peoples, and she asked my mom if when we got back, which she ended up moving out right after like the night we got back, because mom was like, no, she's not staying here. But Melissa was under the impression that she was, and my mom wasn't about to tell her no, but anyways. So she asked my mom for some money to go to the bar to see her peoples whenever she got back. My mom didn't really say anything, and then we're driving home, and I see Courtney when we stop at another gas station, because Courtney was in the car with Melissa and her grandmother, because her grandmother was scared to be with Melissa alone. So Melissa starts screaming, the military's coming, the big boys are coming, they're coming to get us, they're moving in, and just all this crazy stuff. So that was the last freak out we had before, which, I mean, it was only like a few minutes while Courtney was in the car with her. It wasn't like she didn't call or anything else. She just legitimately thought that the military was coming to attack her. Now, see, I feel bad for Melissa, because if she didn't have schizophrenia, she would be a very genuine person. But, you know, I just wanted to share this story with you because it was the most recent crazy thing that has happened to me, and probably one of the craziest things that has ever had and ever will happen to me. But, mind you, I don't know what's to come. I don't know what the Lord's plan is. But anyway, as crazy things continue to happen, I will continue to make story times about them. She left that night, and we have not seen her since, except for when she came to get the remainder of her stuff. But anyway, please click like and subscribe, and we will see you in my next video. Bye, y'all.